So this video is going to show you how to make the pocket on the Hali hoodie. So we're going to start with our center fronts and we're going to start with the pockets over here. So what I've done is I've placed my t-shirt pocket on. So the single jersey t-shirt layer pocket gets sewn onto the front, and matching my pattern markings over here, I've sewn this little shape here. So basically what happens is you sew in from that edge, turn on your 1 centimeter, go across, and then turn and go back out. You must go turn exactly on the 1 centimeter because we're going to cut into those corners, and if you've done one stitch too far, we won't be able to do the next stitch neatly. So that is your fronts. Then on your side inset panels, you're going to pin and sew the fleece layer on. So this is the fleece layer of the pocketing. And on this one, you simply sew a straight line from the one mark down to the other mark. It's that simple. Okay, so now I've taken the front panel to the ironing board, and I'm going to cut into these corners. So cut as deep as I possibly can without cutting the stitching. And we're cutting at an angle like that. Okay, sorry for the shadows over there. And now I'm going to take this, panel, fold it open, and then I'm just going to iron in between, so where I've cut, just in between those little plits over there, I'm just going to give it a little bit of an iron. Okay, and then I'm going to move this to the back. So I'm folding this and I'm turning the whole garment around. So this is now the back of my garment. And I'm going to push these little corners out. So because you've cut into it, it'll allow the fabric to move, so you can push those little corners out, keep everything lined up, and the same on the other side. And then it is also a nice idea to pull the t-shirt fabric slightly to the inside so that you can see a little bit of the tracksuit fabric sticking out there, because then on the outside you'll have a nice clean edge. So you do that, and then you're just going to give this a little bit of an iron just to hold that beautifully in place. And then you're going to do a top stitch. So a top stitch is always done from the right side of the fabric. So from this side we're going to go and we're going to stitch from the indent, so not from this edge over here, but from that indent there. We're going to go in, do a back stitch, twist and turn, and stitch along this edge here, twist and turn, and stitch and go back there. So we've got a top stitching on this little edge over there. So I've done my top stitching here on each pocket, so nice and neat over there, starting in that little indent. And now I'm ready to sew my front and my side panels together. So I need to just make sure that I get the right side panel. So these are my side panels. So if I look at the shape of my garment here, I can see that that's my sleeve. So this one doesn't go on this one because it doesn't match. This one goes over here. So what I'll do now with this is I'm going to open up this pocket over here. And this pocket is going to go, and I'm going to push it underneath, so that I can see there's my garment, there's my sleeve, and my pocket is now underneath. And then I open this up like this so that I reveal my pocket only. So now I can see just my pocket, and I'm going to pin and sew together just the pocket. So basically the bottom, the side, and the top. So not these sides, not these little bits. I don't need to sew those little bits. I'm just sewing the top, the side, and the bottom. That's all. Okay, so I've sewn together the pocket, so just the 3 sides, and I've overlocked only the top because the other sides are going to get caught in other areas that need to be overlocked, so that only the top's been overlocked. And now I need to sew together the seam, so basically this seam over here, which is my sewing my side inset panel onto my garment. So if I look carefully over here, you can see that that little indent that I've cut into fits like a little puzzle piece into that. So if I line that like that, all these layers are lying together, and that's fitting in there, and this is like fitting like a little puzzle piece. And I'm going to fit that in so that corner is nice and snug there, and I can do the same here. So just make sure all the panel pieces are lying together, and then I fold this over, so that's over now like there. And this I call it a little guy, but this little guy here likes to pull away from this corner, so I actually pull him right out, cover him with this, and put a pin there, and the same on this side over here. So I'm pulling him all the way out, lying everything up and putting a pin there, and that just needs to stay like that so that when you stitch here, this corner becomes nice and neat. Now on this garment there is a slight curve, so this doesn't line up perfectly, so it's a little bit like a sleeve. So what I'll do now is I will put this over here, so remember for your overlap, so where the two intersect at 1 centimeter, because your seam is 1 centimeter, so that's where it needs to be, so you have a little bit of an overlap over here. So you're going to start pinning that over there, and then you just keep your raw edges together, so it's a little bit like a sleeve because there's a curve. Keep the raw edges together and keep pinning this in place so it should fit perfectly. And then when you stitch now, you are going to stitch from that one over there, so start there, and you're going to stitch all the way down straight through this line over here, so make sure that you stitch on that line all the way to the bottom. And then you're going to overlock this edge, fold it open and top stitch it. So just talking about this corner again, so I was able to stitch to meet this up where they both intersect at the 1 centimeter. So now when I fold this out, this is a continuously straight line, and I'm going to actually top stitch this down, and then I can just cut that edge off there. I just need to quickly overlock first. So now I've done my top stitching, so you'll notice that the top stitching on the edge of the pocket is the same distance as I've done over here. So I just kept my fabric, the very edge of my fabric, on the edge of my foot, so the edge of the metal edge of my foot when I sew, so that these two are both the same size, and it looks quite neat. So over here I can just cut this little guy off, and that's pretty normal. And then you have your side inset panel sewn on and your pockets sewn in. You'll notice over here, this is now nice and neat in that corner over there. If you find that you've got a bit of a gap over there, it just means that you didn't pull this guy deep enough into the seam, so you can just unpick that and move him up. So just check that before you do your top stitching, and then you have a nice beautiful pocket.